Mrs. Margaret Slee, president of America's Planned Parenthood Federation, maintains that European women should stop having babies for the next 10 years.
But Mrs. Slee, in this country, having babies is the only thing left which is both unrationed and untaxed. Do you think we really ought to stop?
Well, I suppose a subject like that is really so personal that it's entirely up to the parents to decide. But from my view, I believe that there should be no more babies.
Welcome to the channel. We have some interesting things to talk about today as we dive into the history and evolution of Planned Parenthood, exploring their controversial history with their founder, Margaret Sanger, and discussing where the organization is. Whether you view Sanger as a champion of women's rights or are marred by her associations with eugenics, which we'll talk a little bit about in this video, nonetheless, this is a complex and interesting topic to chat about, especially as we talk about reproductive rights in America now. Okay, so a little bit about Margaret. Margaret Sanger was born September 14th, 1879 in Corning, New York. She is often credited with pioneering the birth control movement in the United States. She was a nurse, a feminist, and a social activist who sought to alleviate the suffering she witnessed among women, particularly those who were burdened by frequent unwanted pregnancies. In 1916, Sanger opened the country's first birth control clinic in Brooklyn, New York. That was a revolutionary move and also illegal at the time. Sanger and her colleagues were arrested for distributing contraception, but this event brought national attention to her. She was determined to change the laws and society's norms around women's reproductive rights. However, Sanger's legacy is not without controversy. She was a vocal advocate for eugenics. It's a belief system that aims to improve the genetic quality of the human population with the sole purpose of targeting those that they deem as unfit to reproduce, which was usually minorities, the disabled, and the poor. Sanger's writings and speeches often echo these disturbing views. In 1919 journal article, she advocated for the sterilization of those she considered feeble-minded and unfit. And she got a lot of criticism for this. Critics argue that her focus on controlling reproduction among certain populations laid the groundwork for some of the darkest times of our human history, like Nazi Germany darkest times. Um, Basically, her policies were adopted by the Nazis for what they did later on. Yep, it's like literally that big. One of the most controversial aspects of Sanger's legacy is her involvement in the Negro Project in 1939. This initiative was designed to provide birth control to poor Black communities in the South, but they had some pushback from different opponents that said that this was their attempt to reduce the Black population. Sanger collaborated with prominent Black leaders to promote this project, but the underlying eugenic motives had led to widespread criticism. Despite this, though, some still continue to defend Sanger's intention, suggesting that her focus was on providing women, regardless of their race, the control over their bodies, not her trying to get rid of them. In 1962, the American Birth Control League, which Sanger founded, was renamed Planned Parenthood. And over the decades, Planned Parenthood has grown into one of the largest and most influential reproductive health organizations in the world. In the world, guys. And while Planned Parenthood continues to provide essential healthcare services, including cancer screenings, STD testing, and contraception, it remains at the center of a heated debate, particularly over its role in providing abortions. Critics argue that the organization continues to target minority communities, a charge rooted in Margaret's eugenic philosophy. But supporters are saying, no, no, no. Planned Parenthood is a vital provider of health care for millions of people, particularly those from low income backgrounds. Okay. As our society's views on race and eugenics have evolved, so has the discussion around Margaret's legacy. In 2020, Planned Parenthood made a significant move by quietly removing Sanger's name from its Manhattan
Planned Parenthood
headquarters.
of Greater New York is removing the name of pioneering birth control advocate Margaret Sanger from its clinic in Lower Manhattan. The group says that Sanger has long provoked controversy because of her support for eugenics, a movement to promote selective breeding that often targeted people of color and the disabled. Sanger was one of the founders of Planned Parenthood of America more than a century ago. The clinic on Bleecker Street in Soho will now be known as the Manhattan Health Center.
Acknowledging the harm caused by her eugenic beliefs. This decision reflects a broad reckoning with Sanger's legacy within the organization and the public at large. Today, Planned Parenthood's mission has expanded beyond her original vision, focusing on providing comprehensive reproductive health care and advocating for women's rights across all communities. Margaret Sanger's life and legacy is complex and contradictory. Like, we must admit it. She was a trailblazer in women's rights, but also had a proponent of deeply troubling eugenic ideas. Understanding her history is crucial in engaging in informed discussions about reproductive rights and the role of organizations like Planned Parenthood today. All right, so what are your thoughts on Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood? Let me know in the comments below. And oh, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history and current events. All right, ciao.